Very good morning to all the participants to today's discussion on how to build your career in IT. This is part of our Chircha Month series that was launched by the Ikfa University Jharkhand to build awareness among our students on what is happening in the industry and how they should gear up themselves to become industry ready and become good professionals in the industry. And today's discussion is particularly for the students that would like to build a career in IT, be it BCS students, MCS students, BTech computer science students, or for that matter, anybody else that would like to build a career in IT. It could be even the MBA students that want to build a career in IT, taking the elective of IT. Uh, in fact, we have been seeing in the newspapers for the last few months since the COVID-19 crisis has started. Most of the industries got affected adversely because of the COVID-19 crisis. They are unable to have the operations, and a lot of employees they are unable to attend the offices. And some of the industries like aviation, hotel industry, they have come to a standstill. They are not functioning at all because they can't even operate from home. Whereas we have seen some industries, these employees are working from home and they are continuing to run the industry. So in this process, services industries wise, IT industry is the one that has taken the lead so that the employees are allowed to work from home. Already earlier they had some options to the employees. Now they have put in processes, they have put in more infrastructure so that all the employees can work from home. So at the same time, a lot of our students sometimes they are apprehensive as to what. So Uh, in fact, in this process, we are keen to, the students are a little bit confused as to sort of whether or not they can build a career in IT. And in this, that is the reason why today we have started this discussion. And today we have got with us, my hearty welcome to Mr. Vishweshwar, senior manager from Tech Mahindra. Tech Mahindra, as you are aware, it's a $5.2 billion company. It's the fifth largest IT company, Indian IT company, and with over 1.32 lakh employees that are working in that. Mr. Vishweshwar, he's a seasoned IT professional with over 30 years of experience, and he has been helping a lot of banks and financial services with regard to the digital transformation. Today, the buzzword is the digital transformation, going beyond programming and doing a little bit of applications into that. So today we are fortunate to have Mr. Vishweshwar taking part in our discussion. So to start with, Mr. Vishweshwar, a hearty welcome to you. And all our students are, waiting to listen to the conversation. And the first thing is, while we have been seeing a lot of IT corporates and majors, like HCL Tech or Cognizant or Capgemini, some of them we have seen the results of last quarter. Sort of in terms of the top line, they seem to be doing well. Bottom line a little bit dented. But at the same time, like we would like to hear from you as the industry veteran, what are your views about the industry with regard to your customers? Are your customers they are all working, and are you able to function normally? And if the work kind of environment has changed, we thought you could share with us, yes, how the work environment has changed. So please, we would like to sort of listen to you from Mr. Vishweshwar.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Professor Rao, for the introduction, and good to interact with all of you, dear students. Professor Rao is very close to me. He's good to be in the session. Can everyone go on mute, please? There is background noise. Okay, thank you. So to answer your point, sir, IT industry has weathered the storm quite well in these circumstances, because we are all technology-based companies and technology-driven companies. Business continuity plan is always part of our normal plan. What if there is a disruption in the business? How do we continue? Is something we always focus on. But having said that, this is very unprecedented situation where all the locations across the world are uh, are shut down and making people to work from home. So we have quickly worked on that. All companies, all IT companies, including our customer organizations, Indian IT organizations, have very quickly uh, came together in forming the business continuity plans and ensure that the customer services are not disrupted. So it took about 10 to 15 days for everyone to get enabled on the home networks. But after that, we're all back on business. The very reason is, the whatever may be the situation, the businesses cannot stop. Businesses have to continue. So, for example, I am working for a large bank in Canada who has millions of customers. So they cannot stop the services of the bank, correct? So, which means it has to continue. And we have lived up to that expectations quite well. We are all back on track, working. Everyone is working from home, servicing the customers. Some of the critical functions like network support and all that continue to be in office because we are considered as essential services by the government also. So around 20-25% staff are working from the offices as usual. Remaining people are working from homes and servicing the customers.
No,
So it's business as
thank you so much, Mr. Vishweshwar, to give us, some sketch of what is happening. In fact, I'm told that today working from home, the employees in the IT sector, they are working harder. In the earlier days, they could say that, yes, I'm traveling and I can't take a call. But today, all the IT employees working from home, they are on right from morning to sort of a night. And with the result, yes, irrespective of the time zones, they are supposed to be working, with the clients, wherever it is to that. And so to that extent, Mr. Vishweshwar, am I right in saying that today the work environment and the work style had changed in the IT industry uh, due to this COVID-19 crisis? So it is something like, you have to be available, online all the time. And
not really, Rao Garu, because in the normal situations also we work in a staggered timings. For example, if we are servicing a America customer, or if we are managing a Australia customer, we work in their time zones. An
okay,
overlap period of 4 to 5 years, 4 to 5 hours, we
okay,
work in an overlap with their time. So it is very normal that people continue in a shift till 10 in the night, 10:30 in the night, and all that.
okay,
So
okay.
in that
No,
sense, there is not much of a change. We
okay.
are saving a lot of time in the travel, definitely.
Good. So, Mr. Vishweshwar, see, like in fact, I do agree with you that is the environment. In fact, I also have been part of the industry, and in my family, my son, daughter, we have been seeing them, and the son-in-law, they are all into that. See, today, due to the COVID-19 crisis, have you seen any of the overseas clients stopping the kind of projects, discontinuing the projects, or do you see it's life as usual? Particularly with the North American clients or European clients, do you see the projects are all continuing, or do you see any kind of stop saying that oh, sort of somebody is not working, and so don't continue the project? Have you seen any situations like that?
Not really, sir. Around 96, 97% projects are continuing as usual because again, going back to the point that the businesses have to continue. They cannot stop working, correct? The banks cannot stop working. Insurance companies cannot start working, not stop working, or manufacturing companies can't stop working. So working is continuing, and hence we are supporting the services. So nothing has changed. The only thing is some new projects which we expected in this month and the next month, they are put on hold for some time, for another 2 months or so, which are primarily related to discretionary spending. Wherever they are not very critical projects, they are put on hold for next 2 months. After that, I think it will come back on track, and we'll continue to service them. So in
Wonderful,
that sense,
wonderful. In fact, we are all very happy to hear that. So, after having said that, one of the points of interest for all of our students is with regard to the employment potential, and particularly with regard to the fresh graduates. Of course, in the newspapers, we have been seeing that, like we have seen TCS and Wipro, even during the COVID-19 sort of a crisis period, they have announced that they are going to be recruiting 40,000 freshers. Capgemini said they are going to be recruiting 15,000 freshers. And HCL Technologies, they said, very recently, a few days back, they said they are doubling the headcount. They said, this year they are going to be recruiting 15,000 freshers. And Cognizant also said they'll be recruiting 20,000 freshers, but they said the freshers who are digitally ready. So with this kind of this thing, like, as an industry veteran, what are your views? Do you see that, across the industry, do you see this kind of a trend? Like, as for the recruitment of freshers, sort of will be continuing, albeit, maybe, the joining times could be late. But do you see that, because we have seen that, like Mr. Vishweshwar, you also have got a rich experience, not only in terms of managing projects, you also have been recruiting freshers from various engineering colleges or the universities. With this kind of a background, I would like to have your views. Do you see this kind of a recruitment of the freshers? Will it be kind of, do you see the trend across the industry?
yes, I can confidently say that the recruitment will continue, will happen this year as well, because again, the businesses are continuing to work, function. So we definitely require new people. So we normally go for campuses in August, September timeframes by taking inputs from all the business units on their requirements. So I think in the current situation, the projects are continuing, and new projects will start coming through, and hence we require more people. And the focus will be more on taking fresh graduates because they come at a low cost and they come with fresh minds to learn new technologies. So the recruitment is on, sir.
So
It will continue.
possibly, I think while the recruitment is on, it is very likely that, unlike the earlier pattern wherein, like, you used to go to the campuses, sort of now it is going to be more and more of online recruitment, and wherein all the HR processes starting with applying, going through the various evaluation like a test or interview, all of them. It is likely that it may go online. Am I right in saying that, Mr. Vishweshwar?
Very much true, sir. Very much true. The models will change. It will be a pseudo. I cannot say entire thing will move on to online.
So
it will be a pseudo recruitment, pseudo interviews happening on digital modes and personal modes. So, but definitely things will go more digital. The technologies are supporting us as well, like the Zooms and WebEx and all that are enabling us to have face-to-face meetings, and recording is also available. So definitely the recruitments will go more digital going forward.
wonderful. In fact, as a matter of fact, even with regard to the HR processes, we also sort of read in various journals that some of the HR managers are using technologies like artificial intelligence to understand the profile of the student. They try and see, on how this student interacts in the various social media or otherwise. Of course, I do understand that some of them, could be a little bit far-fetched, particularly for the Indian environment. But I think all the same, I think today the HR managers in the IT companies, they are using a lot of technologies. In fact, that is something we have been seeing that very well into that. So after that, the next kind of a point of interest for our students would be, like all of our students, whether it is for the 3 years or 4 years, sort of, they have been learning various technologies in the education system. They go through the programming languages, they go through the databases, and they go through various tools. But at the same time, like they would like to know, as far the industry is concerned today, when you are executing projects, the international projects, and more so the digital transformation projects, what are the kind of technologies that you are deploying today, and how do you see this, changing in the next set of few months or few years, so that maybe it could be not only the students that are graduating this year, the students that are graduating maybe a year hence or 2 years hence, they also need to gear up themselves to see that sort of they get ready by the time they join the industry. So considering that you are doing a lot of projects with regard to digital transformation in the banking, possibly if you can throw some light on this, I think all of our students will get benefited, Mr. Vishweshwar.
Definitely, sir. I think as a company, we are experimenting with a lot of these new technologies ourselves because, for example, the attendance system has gone more with facial recognition now. So we have, instead of the smart cards that we used to do earlier, now it is all facial recognitions, and uh, and attendance get recorded through facial systems, and artificial intelligence is being used to, as you rightly said, in analyzing the databases and the pattern of the students that are coming in and all that. So artificial intelligence and machine learning is being used within our company as well. So apart from that, the customers are looking at more uh, faster time to market, uh, better customer experience. I mean, everyone is looking at how can I improve my customer experience? How can I cut down on the time that it takes for processing a transaction? So digital transformation is the mantra in this industry right now, and we are also going with solutions to customer. Earlier, we used to say, okay, sir, you have this manual process. We can computerize that. We can do a Java program. We can do a .NET program and computerize. But those days are going off. Now customers are saying, how can you improve my customer experience? How can you make us release a product every 3 months rather than 6 months or 12 months that it used to take earlier? How can you improve us? How can you improve the time to market? And uh, how can you improve the productivity? How can, how can we achieve better productivity out of our people and our systems? So these are all going under the umbrella of digital transformations, where we transform the businesses on the whole. And there are several technologies that are being used and will be relevant in the next 2 years at least, are uh, artificial intelligence and machine learning and robotic process automation. I'm talking about the software robots uh, and cloud computing. Everyone is moving on to cloud now. So cloud computing is a big subject these days. And we have major players like Amazon, Microsoft are focusing a lot of effort on coming out with cloud solutions. And next is IoT, because we are all moving towards sensor-based technologies. Uh, Even in agriculture, there are a lot of sensors being used and data being collected and processed. So IoT is an area which will come up in the next, which will take front stage in the next couple of years. And again, data analytics is one area which is going to explode, because there is trillions and trillions of data being collected through all these systems and social media and all that. So unless proper analysis is done and knowledge is brought out of that data, otherwise the data itself is very useless. Okay, unless you bring out the value in that data. So all these technologies, if I have to name the top 5. These are the top 5 technologies that are being used, and that is what we are seeing with our customers also. We are proposing the same to our customers. So I can take an example, sir, of a digital transformation journey that we have done for our customer. Is that okay? Any questions so far?
Nothing. Please go ahead. I think it's very explanatory. Very good. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll take a quick example of a digital transformation project that we are implementing for our banking customer. This is regarding the home loans, what they also call it mortgage loans. So the existing system is not dependent on the manual processes. So if someone has to get a home loan, he has to contact someone will come and meet you, give 100 different papers, then he asks for a photograph, he asks for your Aadhaar card, and then he goes and takes all that and goes to the property, the actual land or the apartment that you want to buy, and verifies that whether it is genuine plot and all that. He takes a lot of information from the government agencies, and then finally uh, approve your loan or reject your loan based on this. All this takes at least a month these days, few weeks to 1 month, 2 months, for the solution to come up. So our customer said, how can we improve that customer experience? How can we use speed, fast track all these processes? So we have brought in a transformational journey for them and built a new system, which is all technology based. So, we are talking about what is called an omni-channel experience. People these days use laptops, mobile phones, smartwatches, everything. So the user experience is very key here. People can initiate the loan application on a laptop or a mobile phone or a smartwatch, and keep shifting between them. So the user experience has to be very consistent across them, what we call omni-channel experience. Okay, and then digitization. We have to submit all the documents, right? So instead of someone coming in and picking up the documents, people scan the documents and upload them into a site. Okay, now I have to send my photograph. So I can take a picture in the mobile phone, attach my photograph. Similarly, I have to sign a few papers, so I can go for digital signatures. So all these, and then the bank also has to need not approach various government agencies or send a surveyor to the land to verify. People can started using satellite imagery, GPS, GIS, all these facilities to ensure that the land is what is legal and is existing. So he doesn't have to send a individual to that place, but they can use various provisions that are given by the government, like the GPS and GIS, the satellite imagery and all that. So all these technologies are being used, and the whole application process is now taking a week to maximum 2 weeks. So what used to take a month or 2 months earlier is now done in weeks. So this is a transformation project using digital technologies. It's a very quick example that I can give, but similarly in any other industry, such transformation programs are being taken up.
No, wonderful. In fact, Mr. Vishweshwar, in fact, it is very interesting to hear that various technologies, they are being integrated. Like, in fact, we are hearing you to say that, starting with, the IoT, GIS, satellite imagery, and, analytics, and all of them are being integrated so that the customers, the what you call, the customers are serviced better, and customer, the experiences are better, and the cycle downs have come down, and so that the productivity is sort of is scaled up into the industry. So to that extent, I'm able to understand from you that digital transformation is not just to computerize one process, but to transform the entire organization so that the organizational, the efficiency and the productivity goes up. So am I right in understanding that, Mr. Vishweshwar? So to that extent, I
Absolutely.
think digital transformation will hit, all the core processes of, any organization, including a bank. And so that on one hand, like in fact, you are, automating and robotizing some of the processes. Typically, most of our students, when you say robo, they think of a physical robo. Here we are looking at some kind of, a robotization of the kind of processes so that, some of the processes are automated and a lot of operational decisions are being taken by the robots. Sort of, am I right in understanding that, Mr. Vishweshwar?
Absolutely. I'll take a very quick example on the robotic process automation where it is used. Again, in the bank that I'm working for, there are loans which are given. As I said, loans are given, and then they get several documents and payments against the loans and all that. Currently, it goes through 10 different steps. Someone gets the file, they have to look into that, upload into some Excel sheet, and then put it into some other system and all that. So there are manual processes in between. What this robotic process automation, there are several technologies tools available like UiPath or Pega or Automation Anywhere. There are several robotic RPA tools that are available. We picked up Pega as the tool here, Pega RPA, and then you eliminate the manual steps. What this can do is to automate the manual processes wherever there are manual interventions required. It eliminates that and gives a straight through processing way of taking up the transactions from start to end. This will reduce the time considerably for the operations, improves the productivity. So this is one example of the RPA that we are developing in the bank.
No, wonderful, Mr. Vishweshwar. In fact, it is very exciting to hear that. See, some of us old timers who started in the IT industry long back, sort of those days, programming means, single task and single application. Sort of now, the IT is becoming the mainstay in every organization. And also today, when we see companies, that are there into the transport, like whether it is a Uber, sort of Uber today, it's not a transportation company. It is a technology company driving transportation. I think that is what we are seeing into that. And gradually, I think we are also seeing that, maybe in a few years, already we have started seeing the payment systems. If you see something like a Paytm, it's not a bank, it's a technology company. Maybe in the next few years, you will see it is technology driving a bank and not the other way around. In fact, it's very, very interesting to hear that, from Mr. Vishweshwar, that was some of the live kind of case studies of what is happening. It's not a fiction what you are talking. So after having said that,
Correct.
as far as our students are concerned, if
Yes.
if they have to be part of the organization, part of this journey, so what are the skills you think that our students must acquire so that they become part of that exciting journey of a digital transformation of any company or industry?
Very good question, sir. This very relevant at this time. The students, first of all, have to be very clear on what kind of career that they want to pursue. Just because you are in IT, you are doing it, doesn't mean you want to go into that and all that. And IT technologies is a ocean. Now, which technology that you want to go for is a critical decision. It's not rocket science, but someone has to put effort in understanding what their interest is in the first place. So I understand most of the students will graduate out in the next 1 year. It's a very good time for them to analyze themselves what they are interested in, and then now you decided that I want to go into IT and data analytics is my area. I want, because there's a lot of talk about data analytics, data sciences, data scientists, and all that in these days. So I want to be a data scientist. Now, once you have decided that, you explore the opportunities, you explore the tools and technologies that are in the data analytics, data sciences spaces. I'm just taking an example. It can be anything. And then once you have identified that, okay, I want to get trained and certified on a particular course, then you invest your time and efforts into gaining that knowledge yourself. Don't expect that someone will come and teach you, or you will join a company and then learn there, and all that is past. You have to be ready. That is exactly what the companies like Tech Mahindra and others are looking at. Are we getting a ready-made person, or do we need to invest anything further in this person? Okay, so we will give preference to someone who is coming ready-made, saying, see, sir, I'm good in data analysis. I want to be a data scientist. I have already done my research in this area. I got certified in this particular tool, and hence I am ready. That level of confidence is something which we are expecting from the students that are coming next 1 to 2 years. So, as I said, IT industry is an ocean. So you cannot take everything and say that I want to be an expert in IT industry. It's very difficult. So focus yourself on the areas that you want to focus on, that you want to concentrate on, and then look at the technologies, look at the training opportunities that are available, and get yourself trained. It doesn't cost too much. I mean, it maybe a couple of thousands of rupees that you need to invest in yourself, but I think that's worth it. Be ready is the mantra that I can.
No, in fact, Mr. Vishweshwar, in fact, sort of a very good advice from your part. Today, a lot of students think that, IT itself is a specialization. Today, IT is becoming broad-based. It's a technology. Within the technology, there are various domains that are there. Like, in fact, somebody could say that, yes, I want to go into a web design. And there, you can sort of specialize into that, sort of there, the kind of somebody has to become an expert in the web design. There, has to master a lot of technologies around that, Sort of the same thing happens, with regard to, let's say, maybe artificial intelligence. People think that it is a fancy, but if it is artificial intelligence, what is that you want to do in the machine learning? And trying to understand and get deeper into that, and so that, build more and more knowledge in that. So the same thing applies to IoT. Same thing applies for the data analytics into that. So while on this, like after the kind of the COVID-19 crisis, people are using more and more digital kind of a platforms, and I have been reading reports that the what you call the cyber security has become one of the casualties. With the result now, in fact, I was reading that as such, in 2019, the number of the cyber attacks and cyber crimes, they have, the increase is huge. And with the result, so many of the corporates, they have suffered. They have suffered billions and billions of dollars, including some very large companies like Cognizant. Cognizant recently got hit by the ransomware, and it has come in the public. Even the sort of a US government is also asking that. So with this in mind, do you think that cyber security also could be one area where our students can look at and see that, I want to get some specialization in that?
Definitely, sir. Cyber security that's a good point, which actually falls in the next 5, the top 10 areas that everyone is the future. Cyber security is definitely an area which can be pursued. And similarly, blockchain is another area which is coming up quite fast. Blockchain is being used in almost every industry, be it insurance, be it banking. Every industry is adopting the blockchain technologies. So it's good to gain knowledge on the blockchain as well. And cyber security, as you rightly said, there's a lot of potential that, especially with this work from home and working remotely on any type of gadgets and all that.
It throws open, the what you call arena for the hackers. See, Mr. Vishweshwar, in fact, you have given a very nice advice. In fact, we have seen with our own experience, our own alumni, initially when they started, the journey, sort of, they weren't very sure. But over a period of time, like they understood what is the area of their interest. Sort of, there were, a couple of our students, they took interest in GIS. You mentioned about the GIS. A lot of students think that GIS is not for the IT people. But these students, they took, keen interest in the GIS. They have done, in fact, in our university, our BTech students, the final year students, full of the last semester, they do internship in a company. So at that point of time, our students, have gone to the Reliance Energy in Delhi. There they have done, the project on the GIS. And they were so excited, sort of subsequently, in fact, as a career growth path, they moved on into the GIS and satellite image processing and remote sensing. And so much so, one of our own alumni, he came back to Jharkhand. And initially, like he was keen, he wanted to work in Ranchi. But later, he had to sort of, maybe they had to navigate. He went to sort of, Delhi. From Delhi, came back. And today he is working, in the, what you call, in the remote sensing and, GIS center in part of the Jharkhand itself. Likewise, we have seen sort of another student of ours, a BTech student, who has graduated, in 2019. He took interest in the cyber security, and he has sort of done a lot of work on that. Today, in fact, the Jharkhand government has set up a center for the cyber security. So he is into a specialized area called the cyber forensics, where if somebody has committed a crime, on how to do the diagnosis of that. In fact, we are really proud. Some of our students, they took keen interest in getting specialized into that. Likewise, you mentioned about the blockchain. From our last year's batch, the 2019 pass outs, they took interest in the blockchain. They did a project, in one of the companies in Ranchi. And that was the first venture capital company that is focused on the blockchain. Their interest is to promote, companies, applications on the blockchain. The name of that company is called the Ranchi Mall. It's not a D-Mart or like that. It is something like a soft mall, just like you mentioned about the soft, robotics. And these students, and after that, they developed, sort of applications, and they developed an IPR. They developed products in around the blockchain technology in the transportation. So I think it's a great piece of advice from you that, the students must, I think, understand what is the area of the interest, and he or she has to read more and more, go through various courses. In fact, today, they need not spend much money also. Various more courses are there. Whether it is the Coursera, edX, Udemy, so many courses are there, including in India, we have got some Swayam courses. So these courses, they have to choose, they have to invest their time, more than spending, they have to invest their own personal time, acquire deeper skills so that they get ready kind of for, a career. I think that is something, I'm very, very happy to hear that. I think that is a very good piece of advice, for our students. And another thing I'm happy to inform you, like the digital transformation is close to your heart. And it is close to the heart of our university also, ITFA University, Jharkhand. So keeping this in mind, from 2020-21, in all of our programs, we are introducing a digital transformation as a course. Possibly, we are one of, I don't know how many other universities have introduced. We are, I think, one of the handful of the universities in the entire country to start, a full-fledged, a semester-long course on the digital transformation. There, we are covering various things that you are talking about. Things like we talk of, a business process integration and integration of the various technologies, and focus more on the applications and how technologies can be converged, integrated, so that, they can be deployed in the industry for a customer or a business benefit. I think that is the focus with which we are starting this course. And we do look forward to some help from industries and companies like Tech Mahindra. We are also in touch with other companies into that. So I'm very happy to hear that. And after having sort of given a kind of advice like that, Mr.
My piece of advice to students
Yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
with this online courses that are coming up on various platforms, it is very easy for you to experiment also. For example, I want to get into robotic process automation. You can try it out. You can try what is called a basic course and take a basic certification and then see if it is of interest to you. Not everyone may be interested in that area. So if you're not interested, don't worry. Okay, you move on to data analytics. Take a basic course and take a basic certification. At least you know what it means by robotic process automation, what it means by data analytics, what it means by machine learning and all that. At least you will get to know what it is and see whether you are interested to pursue further. You feel that this is the area that I want to pursue further, you can start taking advanced courses.
No,
So
wonderful. It's a great advice, Mr. Vishweshwar, so that you can feel the waters and understand, yes, that's of interest to me. Then you can pursue more advanced courses, and also possibly all the MOOC courses while going through the course is free. They may have to pay small money for the certification or certificate. I think if the student can invest in that, I think that will go a long way, because in their career, I think there is a proof or there is a credential that somebody has undergone and completed the course into that. So after having said that, when we are talking of the career, Mr. Vishweshwar, one type of a career could be something like joining a job. It can be small company, large company, medium-sized company. And at the same time, like in fact, is it a good opportunity for our students to to start a startup, to become an entrepreneur? Do you think that the kind of the timing is right now, when the entire country is becoming digital India, when the entire world is becoming digital, and when the technology started transforming and driving the entire industry? Do you think that there are opportunities for our students to become an entrepreneur? There particularly I want to draw your attention to the fact that, like the very so far we have been using the video conferencing solution that have come from abroad, maybe whether it's Zoom or WebEx or GoToMeeting. And a few months back, there were some issues with regard to security and privacy with regard to Zoom. And with the result, the government of India has advised the government and also the education institutions to avoid using Zoom. But then a lot of people asked a question. Then what is the alternative? Then the government of India said, why don't we indigenously develop, a video conferencing solution? Then to students and various bodies, they have thrown open, they had given a month's time. They said, come with your ideas, and who all want to develop a prototype on that. I was reading today's newspaper. It seems that until yesterday, the government of India have received 1,980 proposals from corporates as well as students. And that is something exciting. And all of them, they came with ideas as to how they are going to build an indigenous video conferencing solution, so that will not have the kind of problems of privacy and this thing that is there. Likewise, lot of apps are coming today. It has become an app world, because what all I want to do, there's an app for that. I want to buy something, there's an app. I want to contact a doctor, there's an app. Now there is a Arogya Setu app the government of India is promoting, and our beloved Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself is saying, all of you must register for the Arogya Setu app. And today's papers, I was seeing that Arogya Setu app, has given some cases of something like, a 300 kind of, centers, which could be classified as something like containment zones. That has helped. With this kind of a thing, Mr. Visweshwar, do you think that our students also can pursue the path of, starting up something? Like, as you mentioned, it can be blockchain, it can be cyber security, it can be whatever the area. Maybe they can do something, and do you think there's an opportunity for that?
Absolutely, sir. I think you brought some very valid points. Two things. One, talking about Arogya Setu, Tech Mahindra and Tata Consultancy Services are the technology partners for Arogya Setu. There's lot of technology being used within that, including blockchain and GIS and other facilities. So it's a very technology-driven app. In fact, the single point of contact from the government who is driving it is a 70-year-old technologist who is, my people say, he's talking more technology than technology. It's driven by purpose. It's driven very aggressively by the government, and it will be a game changer. A lot of technology is being used. I think covering 130 crores of people in that app will be very good achievement for the government. And coming to your point that entrepreneurship, it's very, very important. I think it's a very valid point. Everyone cannot expect to get into some government job or a private job. I think everyone have to be a job creators for themselves and also a set of people. If you start a small startup company and employ at least 2 people, so at least 3 people are employed by themselves. There are so many opportunities. For example, the land reforms each state is making use of the GIS, GPS, satellite imagery kind of technologies. Every government is moving towards that. So there will not be any manual intervention. Someone going to the survey the land and worry about whether the land is genuine or it's sold to 100 people and all that is the past. The use of technology, you can locate the land and get all the necessary records for last 50 years, 100 years even, to ensure that you are buying a proper land. So land reforms are happening in every state, and a lot of technology being used there. So you can start small company related to that, and there will be data analytics embedded within that. There will be artificial intelligence within that. Okay, so it's an exciting world these days.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, Mr. Vishweshwar, in fact, it is very encouraging and inspiring for our students. And in fact, the government of India, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced a huge package of 20 lakh crores of rupees to revive the economy, and maybe there are a lot of game changers that are being planned by the government of India to see that certain sectors can get a lot of filling. Like one, of course, from out of the COVID-19 crisis, one sector that is coming out a winner is the healthcare sector, because the healthcare sector automation, healthcare sector spending, not only from the government but also public spending, is going to sort of leapfrog, and that's where I think technology is going to find a good place. And in fact, as a matter of fact, some of our own students who started, they joined us in 2019. Very recently, when I was talking to them, they are coming out with some apps with regard to the healthcare, with regard to finding a pharmacy, finding doctor, consultation, a complete value chain, sort of what all can be done into that. And I think I'm happy that that's a very good session on your part for the entrepreneurship. The second thing I can see is coming up in a very big way in India is basically an agrarian economy. But for whatever reasons, that was the last sector that got automated. And because of the various regulations and various archaic kind of practices that are followed, now the government of India is bent on unlocking the kind of a supply chain in the agriculture sector. The APMCs and whatnot, all of them they are trying to dismantle so that there can be free flow of kind of the agriculture kind of a products, from grower to the kind of a consumer. And that's a huge sector that is opening up, and that will call for a lot of automation, lots of apps and a lot of application. I'm glad that you have given a right piece of advice. Agriculture, healthcare, I see that these are the two kind of emerging sectors with huge potential. In fact, as a matter of fact, buoyed with this kind of thinking, our university this year, we are starting an elective specialization in the agribusiness management. We have got an MBA program. In the MBA program, we are starting an elective in the agribusiness management in that, a digital transformation is going to be a very, very important course out of that. So with this, while I would like to thank Mr. Vishweshwar, now that a lot of our students have joined here, maybe every one of them is so excited with your talking. I'm getting a lot of messages saying that it's a great presentation and great discussion. They are all very happy with that. Maybe I think if it is all right with you, Mr. Vishweshwar, can we field a few questions from our students? Maybe it will not be many,
Sure.
maybe something like a 4 or 5 questions. And I request our student, to identify what's your name and what is the program. Then ask a very short question. Don't ask too long a question. So over to the student. So,
Morning, sir. I am Nana Kumari from BCA.
please
Yes,
go ahead. Please go
Sir,
ahead.
my question that the world is changing very drastically. So how we should prepare ourselves to face the challenges, or what quality we should have to, in the current situation to challenge to face the current scenario?
Okay. That's a very good question, Naina, because the world is very big. So you get really confused on what to choose and all that. So as I said, first focus on what you want to pursue further. Okay. So have limited choices, right? So don't expand with 100 different things, but focus with 5 to 10 things that you want to focus on, and then study about that. Study about what is happening in that area, what are the job potentials, and what are the developments that are happening in that area and all that. So do some study on them, and then you can start experimenting. Okay, whether this will be suitable for me. You don't have to travel too much to take a course and all that. You can read about that online and take a small basic course on that, and to get a feel of what is happening in that area. By that, you will get an idea whether it suits your purpose, suits your interest and all that. Then go further. So while the world is very chaotic as it looks, but it is very organized. Don't get confused with too many things. Keep your focus on, and continue with your learning all the time.
Yeah, good,
Yes,
good. Any other question?
thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Hello, sir. Myself, Prashant Kumar Singh
Yeah,
from BTech 4.
yeah.
Especially
Sir, I want to ask, sir, as all the industries are for focusing on digitalization, sir, what about the cloud computing will play role in this?
Yeah, so the role of cloud computing with regard to the various, a digital transformation or the various applications. I think Mr. Vishweshwar, would you like to throw some lights?
Yeah, so I covered that as part of my discussion, but cloud is one of the top 5 skills that will be relevant in the next couple of years. Is already uh, taking a front seat. It's going to be very, very important and relevant as next few years. So there are a lot of opportunities within the cloud. Companies are investing a lot. You have AWS, you have Azure kind of technologies, and there are several positions within that, like a cloud practitioner, cloud developer, cloud architect, cloud analyst kind of positions are coming up. So a lot of opportunity. Explore a little bit on the internet. Choose your course you're interested. Do a basic course.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think the cloud is becoming, it's an integral part of the IT infrastructure. So those are the students that want to go into the IT infrastructure management and IT infrastructure tools. So they should be conversant with the various, models of the cloud delivery, and they also need to understand how to configure, architect, and also make the platform secure. So I think sort of those are security, privacy, and they all become very important. Yeah. So, yeah. Any other question? Yeah, good. Yeah. Any other question from this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I am Anupam from BCA 4th.
No,
Sir, my question is how to make career in cybersecurity as a freelancer,
Yeah.
and what model of reinforcement you suggest us?
Yeah, cybersecurity, as Mr. Professor Rao also touched upon, it's a very crucial area going forward. There are a lot of opportunities. Cybersecurity has the software features also in that. See, so there are quite a few opportunities within that. Pursue that, and definitely you can start off as a freelancer or a small startup company yourself, or start it off as a freelancer. No issues in that. Get a feel of that, get yourself trained, and start working on that. It's as simple as that. You have to spend a lot of time thinking on that. You can get started quickly through the courses and examples that.
Yeah, no, that's a very good thing. Like, in fact, the cyber security is, emerging as a sector with, huge potential. In fact, yesterday I was reading a report wherein it says that, cyber security in a year's time, it is likely to become a $300 billion industry. And the kind of the growth of that industry has been phenomenal. Because today what is happening is the cyber kind of, the what you call, cyber war or cyber kind of this thing, vulnerabilities, they are affecting not only the kind of, the citizens, but also the various companies. And it is causing huge damages everywhere. So to that extent, like there, as far as cyber security is concerned, like definitely you have to go through courses both in hardware as well as software, like starting with the networks and firewalls configuring. From there, getting into the various sort of cyber security tools that are there, and maybe as a freelancer you can become an ethical hacker. Today, like what happens is, like just like police, what happens is, every company, like whether it is websites or whether they're applications, sort of before they get hit by a hacker, what they would like to do is they may ask, a freelancer like you, if you become an expert, my dear friend, can you do?
Yes, sir. Bug bounty.
Yeah, can you do an ethical hacking? Yeah, ethical hacking means like they give the entire details of the site to you, and they challenge you. They challenge you and say that hack it. And if you can hack and show the vulnerabilities and show the gaps, the company will pay you, because the company could not find out themselves, and which they couldn't find out. If this was spotted out by a hacker, a criminal hacker, there would have been huge damages. So because of that, there's a good opportunity for a freelancer to kind of, to become a cyber security expert in that. Today, lots of opportunities are there, be it in banking, be it financial services, insurance, healthcare, everywhere opportunities are there into that. So it's a good question. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Any other question?
So thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So anybody else, that want to ask a question? Maybe Mr. Vishweshwar, can we field another 2 or 3 questions?
No problem, sir.
Yes, sir. I would like to ask a question.
No. Maybe can you just, the student, can you just, switch on your video so that we want to see you? Yeah. Okay, fine.
Sir,
yeah.
I am Devasis second, and I would like to ask a question. How the Indian IT industry can survive the COVID-19 crisis, as we know that automation process can in IT industry.
Yeah, I think there seems to be some audibility problem from Mr. Dio Ashish Singh. And I think his question seems to be like the IT industry, the COVID-19 crisis, how it can address and come out as a
Yes.
team.
Yes.
So with regard to the automation tools that you have got, with regard to securities, maybe I think, Mr. Vishweshwar, would you like to throw some light or your views on that?
Yeah, definitely. IT industry in India is going to gain a lot the situation, Ashish, because many of the customers they feel that remote working, distributing the teams across the locations is turning out to be advantageous, and people working from your home in Canada, it's as good as working from home in India. Friends. So we are seeing that customers want to shift more of their work to India locations. So it's going to be very advantageous for us this situation.
No, good. We will field 2 more questions, from any of the students, and if the student, switch on the video, we can see, and otherwise, with audio is also it's fine. Who is that? Is it Arthit that is asking a question? Yeah. So, any more questions? If there are, because time is running.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, yes.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Mohammad Tausif Asgar from BCA last semester. My question is, what kind of project we should focus, sir?
You cannot focus on it, Tausif. You have to focus on a technology first.
Yeah.
And then work in a project once you join the organization. So, but you can start looking into the relevance of the technology for a particular industry. For example, as Rao said, artificial intelligence or blockchain. How can you relate that to a banking industry, for example, or an insurance industry?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Start relating to that.
Yeah.
Focus on the technology that you want to gain.
Yeah. No, but perhaps I think what he had in mind was, see, right now we are, our summer internship projects are starting, and possibly he wanted to know what are the kind of, the project or, SIP he should take. In fact, Mr. Vishweshwar made it very clear that, one aspect is, trying to understand what is the technology of your interest. Number 2, how the technology can be applied for a specific kind of industrial application to be taken. So I think with this, kind of this thing, I know that there are a lot more questions, but I think, maybe we may have to, Mr. Vishweshwar, even though it is a Saturday, he has got a lot of work to catch up. And so this being the case, yes, we'll try and sort of close this session. And thank you very much, Mr. Vishweshwar, for being kind enough to be with us. And today, in fact, you have explained, how the COVID-19 is, has affected or not affected the IT industry, and also the work environment and the work, the work style, particularly working from home, and how the infrastructure is set up, and how the people are being effectively managed. As a manager, managing various people that are working from home, and also dealing with the clients. So that is something that, we got a good understanding of that. Then after that, yes, I think, all the students also got a reassurance that IT industry is hiring, recruiting freshers. And as I mentioned, something like at least 4 or 5 companies itself we have seen put together that's working out to more than 1 lakh of people that they are taking into that. So that is another thing that can be sort of very, very encouraging for all the students, because it's a good sector where, they can build a good career, and build a long-term career. And also, Mr. Vishweshwar explained to us with regard to the digital transformation journey, and an exciting journey where how the technologies are getting integrated to see that, the overall functioning of the organization is improving in terms of the efficiency, productivity, and profitability and customer experience. And that's where, he mentioned about various technologies and applications into that, and various platforms he talked of. he talked of the IoT applications, he talked of the data analytics, and building on that the artificial intelligence and machine learning, so that that becomes a pyramid. While IoT creates the kind of database, IoT and other application create the database. From out of the applications, you build data analytics, and the data analytics will drive the AI, so that it understands the different patterns and takes helps to take certain decisions into that. He explained that very well, and also we got a good understanding of what are the skills that the students have to acquire. And in this, there Mr. Vishweshwar has made it very clear that because it's an ocean, you got to sort of identify which are the technologies of interest for you, and take a passion, a junoon se kaam karna hai, not simply saying that I will read in the class or go into the kind of syllabus, and take that kind of interest with a passion, sort of do the basics through some MOOC courses, and after that go for some advanced courses, and then you say that this is the field of technology in which I want to build some careers. And there another point Mr. Vishweshwar made it very clear is, unlike in the past, the industry used to recruit freshers and used to train them, and whether it is TCS or Wipro, Tech Mahindra, and all of that, they used to go through training courses, training programs starting with 3 months to 6 months. But today the model is changing. In this new model, the industry is expecting the ready-made students. In fact, Cognizant said, we want to recruit only digitally ready students. They are making it very clear. Tech Mahindra is also saying that, yes, we want to take ready-made students who join and are productive from day one. What it means is the student has to take the responsibility, own the responsibility, or responsibility of the apnana chahiye. You can't simply say that company will do that. The company will not do that. Sort of, you have to get trained and get ready for that. In fact, as a matter of fact, that will not stop now. When you join the company, also the company expects you to get trained, kind of, upskilling yourself. Maybe the company will have to perform and they may pay for that, but the company expects you to train yourself, upskill yourself on a continuous basis. I think that is something they expect. That's going to be the new norm as for the students that are joining into that. Then the other thing we discussed was with regard to when you are talking of a career. Career means a job and also a startup, and there are huge opportunities that are beckoning in this industry for the startups, and a lot of opportunities we have seen, either in terms of the opportunities could be pure play technologies, or also they could be a technology combined with a domain like a fintech, insurtech, HR tech, like health tech, edutech, like that, various kind of technologies that are coming up, which are hybrid, or which is an integration of a functioning technology. And a lot of our own students have shown the way. They have become entrepreneurs of blockchain kind of technologies, and they also have chosen certain technologies and became experts in the area of remote sensing, or sort of cyber forensics and these kind of things into that. And and also the students with their enthusiasm, they participated, they asked some good questions, and which were very nicely answered by Mr. Vishweshwar. Mr. Vishweshwar, thank you very much for your time, patience, and your willingness to share your ideas and thoughts with our students. Our students are happy, they are encouraged, and we look forward to your help in the days to come. So thank you all very much. And with this, in fact, maybe there is a request from our administrator, IT administrator, saying that if the students and the participants can switch on your video, because I know that because of certain compulsions of WebEx, we had to.
Please switch on your camera so that we can take the snapshot.
No, sabhi ka ek sort of our Amar Gupta, who is our system administrator, he is the person that is behind this show, that is helping us. And iska to, he wants to take a photograph. You could do that, Amar? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, I am requesting the remaining participant, switch on your camera for the few seconds. I am requesting all the faculties and participant students. Please try to switch on your camera. Thank you very much.